Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Crooked Smile podcast brought to you by Macca Media Group.
Hello, everybody. How is all?
Today we have on Mandy Twomey, radiotherapist.
Radiotherapist.
A really fascinating conversation surrounding cancer and ways to prevent cancer and basically the industry behind cancer.
Yeah, I guess you bring it up a lot, is talking about maybe focusing on the root causes of cancer and how we can
Or just general
limit
problems,
risk around that in a ever-changing world where therapy and treatment and how it's getting better, but also it's having to get better because there's lots more people presenting with it and there's lots more root causes of cancer. So yeah, lots of cancer talk.
If you don't believe him, watch the episode and find out.
Yeah, but
it's Gianni's last episode for a while as well. He's about to go to Europe on sabbatical and
doing some study
just
overseas,
studying some Italian pasta dishes and some
just how we can improve the podcast.
Mandy Twomey, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming on.
No worries.
So I guess to start, a good question would be, what is a radiotherapist? Because there's so many different terms and types of things around cancer. It's hard to define which is which role.
Yep. So lots of people get it confused. So there's the doctors that look at x-rays, and then there's the people that do the imaging, and then there's a radiotherapist, which is what I am or was. We deliver radiation treatment to tumours to kill them and hopefully save lives.
So the process behind that is someone will go get diagnosed with cancer and then sent to you, and then you'll start the treatment for them?
Yeah, so someone will be diagnosed with cancer and they'll meet with an oncologist that will provide them with chemo or advice on where to go from there, and they'll be referred to a radiation oncologist, which is the doctor, and then they'll get CT scans, MRIs, PETs, whatever, and we'll get an image on the CT of where the tumour is, and with that we need to dose the tumour and deliver the treatment. So it's a pretty lengthy process before it begins, but then once it begins,
And the client sort of interface for you, do you have much to say with the actual people you do the treatment for, or you just come in and do the treatment?
No, I depending on what we're treating or how big the tumour is or what kind of tumour it is, we'll see a patient every day, so 5 days a week for, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, up to 7 weeks.
That's pretty confronting.
Yeah, it's about 10, 15 minutes each session, and so you kind of build a rapport with them and get to know them really well.
Has it always been easy to have those sort of tough conversations with people about it?
Well, by the time they see me, they know what's going on. They've spoken to the doctor and they know.
And it's not too confronting for you?
It didn't when I was younger, but then when I went back after I had kids, it was very confronting and made it really hard to continue in the profession because, I found myself taking on the role of a mother and a daughter and got super attached and checked their patient history and started to worry. I think before I was a mum, my mortality wasn't that important to me, so it didn't really bother me so much. It was just another bum or another pair of boobs, or didn't really bother me so much. But now I'm a mum, mortality really
scares you.
Yeah, scares me. So it made it really hard to continue in that profession.
That's really interesting that you say that how that changed for you. Obviously that's a very dark start to the,
no,
episode,
sorry.
But no, that's not your fault. The line of questioning kind of went there. But I guess how did you start off out in that journey, and how did you, I guess, specialise in radiotherapy? What was the process there?
It was
long. Was it?
It was a bit of an accident, actually. So
nice.
I finished high school with a score with my ATAR now that wasn't that great, because I knew what I wanted to be and it wasn't what I did do. But having immigrant parents, you move to this country so you can be a doctor or a lawyer or, what else. So I went to Murdoch Uni and did an undergrad in biomedical science and molecular biology. And after that, I ran a lab for a couple of years, but that wasn't ideal. I was working in a family planning centre, so we kind of know what happens in those centres, and being greeted with protesters throwing plastic babies at you as you walk in the door wasn't really ideal. So I don't know why or how, but I got a letter from someone through Murdoch asking me to apply for a scholarship to do my master's in radiotherapy, because it was a course that wasn't run in WA. So it was through Monash University in Melbourne, but there was a shortage of radiotherapists at the time. So I applied for the scholarship. So it was free education. So I was like, hell yeah, get out of this lab. And so I applied and got through, and it took 2 years. It's like a working master's, and went from there. Yeah, I really, really loved the training and really loved working. But then as I had kids, it just became harder to stay in that profession. The hours are long, 4 weeks of leave a year weren't ideal with kids. Got out of then, went into academia in that industry, back in health again. But really did enjoy. And I went back again after I had kids, and really enjoy that too. Mm. Yeah, it's a great profession, really. It's interesting because it's different all the time. You get to meet so many different people and kind of, part of their journey, and it's, most of the time it's pretty positive. So,
well, it sounds like you've learnt a lot about cancer as well in the process of studying for so many years. And do you learn a lot about how to prevent cancer, or
they didn't really teach us
cause cancer?
No, they didn't really teach us much about that. But I guess as working as an academic and just being in the field, I think generally, our lifestyles, the incidence of cancer is definitely on the increase, and I think it's because of our environmental factors. The food we put in our bodies, what we're doing every day, and also what we do to ourselves. Like we're much more stressed. There's more anxiety and more expectations than there's ever been on us in the past. I know. Yeah, just looking at my childhood and then compared to what my kids are doing, it's a lot different. And comparing my parenting, journey opposed to my parents, it's a lot different too. There's so much more stress. You can't just be a mum. You've got to be a highfalutin, worker lady, working person. It's hard. There's so much stress on us now to be perfect, and social media, and I think the stress of everything really messes with our bodies. And I think sickness definitely presents to us because of what we're doing to ourselves.
What are some of the ways that people can learn to avoid those sort of things?
Well, I think it's pretty tough at the moment because, expectations are there. So either you just don't conform and ditch expectations, but then it's also our lifestyle. Like our phones are permanently attached to us, and that's definitely not a good thing. There's research, especially in Europe, about the incidence of brain tumours and phone use. And I know
from having it to your ear, or
to your ear, to your ear, which is how much time do we spend on our phones, or it's just in your pocket. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if I told Cam or. When I was working in radiotherapy, so we have these little badges on us, our TLD badges, which measure the radiation that we receive while we're working. And as radiation therapists, we assume that we're going to have more radiation than the average Joe. They do everything they can because, radiation, the linear accelerator, which is in the room where we treat the patients, we're in a concrete maze to get out. So, we're quite protected, but still it's going to be higher than the average Joe because we're there all day, 5 days a week. So they'd measure our badges every 3 months, and we were higher but not crazy. But then there was a room that they call a planning room, which is where all the computers are in. There's maybe 12 computers in like a U-shaped room, and we're all sitting in there planning our treatments on patients.
I think I can see where this is going.
So when we were in that room, the radiation that was measured on our badges was off the Richter.
And that's just the computers?
That's like
just
a regular workplace.
Mm-hmm. So, working with a machine that delivers radiation and then walking out of a concrete maze, it was still high. But being in that room with 12 computers, it was, off the charts high. So, and how many of us are working in rooms like that all the time, working in offices with computers?
Well, I heard something recently about one of the news channels and one of the broadcasting rooms with all the big heavy machinery and cameras.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people in one of those rooms and they all ended up getting cancer.
Yeah, like a cluster of, there was something, was that ABC? There was a cluster of breast
one of
cancers.
those channels. And
that was a long time ago.
So you've said off camera, but when you go into office buildings, the higher you go, the more it spikes, the badge?
No, not the badge, but yeah, there have been studies, and the higher you live up in the hills, or the higher you go, the more radiation there is. Like when you go on a plane, they say it's like having a chest X-ray.
Really? How's that?
Wow.
Do you know how that works?
Just the atmospheric radiation. So the higher up you go.
I was just going to say, so obviously it seems like it's almost unavoidable, right, in today's world, and it's hard to, like if you're going to, talking about conforming and that sort of thing, but it's obviously hard to avoid. What are some little things that maybe you do or that you've seen people do that like an everyday hunter can do to just reduce that sort of?
I think stress. Yeah, stress. We just have to pick what lets you twist off. Like, do you let things affect you or not? And if you can reduce stress at work, like I've quit my job as an academic, and I'm looking to start my own business instead. I just want to reduce stress levels. I don't want to work 9 to 5 anymore. I don't want to be told when I can go on leave. I want to do whatever I can. So in doing that at the moment, stress levels are dramatically decreased. I don't carry my phone next to me all the time. I've got it in my bag, or I don't have it in my pocket. Like one of the first questions they ask you, when my husband and I, we struggled for a little while to fall pregnant, and one of the first questions they asked us was, do you use your laptop on your lap? Right. Do you have your phone in your pocket? So, I try to do things like that. And then eating right. So lifestyle, a lot of our food is already processed. It's not meant to be like that. Like in Australia, our food isn't the greatest anyway. Like our produce isn't really. And if you compare the produce you'd get in Australia to Europe, where the soil is all volcanic and nutrient dense, it's completely different. Tomatoes here look like they're anemic, and you go overseas, they're like, on fire red. It's different. Like, and GMO, we've got heaps of GMO foods here, whereas in Europe, again, they don't stand for that. There's no GMO.
Well, Italy recently did a ban against some of the GMO stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy to do, but it's easy to do that when your soil is so rich and you can make
exactly.
It's just hard for anyone to make money, obviously, here if they're not.
Who can afford to eat organic? Like we've a double income
local farmers market.
Yeah,
and that's always pretty cheaper than Wool's and Coleworths these days.
Yeah.
Wool's and Coleworths.
Woolworths and Coles.
I know, but that's crazy. Wool's and Coleworths is awesome.
This is
maybe
he's onto something.
Having a mayor today.
That's great. I've never heard that before. Sorry.
I found it really interesting how you talked about when you went to see about conceiving and they asked having the laptop on your lap.
Yep.
So what's the process behind that? It increases the risk of infertility?
Yeah, because you're radiating your bits.
And it decreases sperm count for guys. Yep.
So guys having phones in their pockets all the time, is that bad as well?
Yeah, definitely. That's what our fertility expert said to us. Don't carry your phone in your pocket. Oh, and where is your internet router? What do you sleep next to? What is...
Yeah, I used to have mine under my bed, and then you told...
Your girlfriend told me.
Yeah. You know my girlfriend quite well, and you told my girlfriend about it, and then I made sure...
Is it gone?
Yeah, we got NBN and we moved it to the corner of the house to furthest away from everyone.
I'm glad. Yeah, that's good.
Well,
it's interesting to see that it's not. It's kind of scary to think a generation growing up, they're starting to have children. I'd like to say that the fair majority of our generation have not started to have, or Gen Zers have not started to have children, but it's scary to think because we are really the first people that have had our phones from a young age moving forward, and how deformed our children are going to be.
I remember when I was like 8, 9, 10, the first iPod Touch was coming out, and then the iPhones started coming out in my early teens. But we didn't really get them. We had the Nokia bricks with like the snake on them.
Same.
Yep.
But now you see 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and they have iPads and they have all of
scary.
that.
But then what's that doing to them as well? Like, I don't know. I have to say I really enjoyed COVID when we were all stuck at, not necessarily because we were stuck at home, but just the pressure was off. There was no need for all that pressure and no screens. We didn't need. It was like I felt, like when I was a kid again.
Well, with the increase in screens, are you seeing an increase in younger people with cancer?
I don't know exactly what it is. I can't say, but I know. I just heard about that study in Italy with the phones and the data that they presented with the incidence.
The tumours with the brains.
Yeah, I'm no
Crazy
expert. I
to
just
think
yeah, that's what I've read, and I know going through our fertility issues that's one of the first questions he asked.
So back to being a radiotherapist.
Mm-hmm.
When you do radiotherapy treatment for clients,
Yep.
could you talk a bit to the process behind that?
So we use it's a big giant scary machine. It's called a linear accelerator, and accelerates electrons to deliver high dose radiation. So your low dose radiation is what you'd get when you get an X-ray, but this high dose radiation kills cells. So whatever it hits, it kills over the course of time. It disrupts its DNA and fucks it. It kills it over the course of whatever weeks it is that the doctor prescribes. So our aim as radiotherapists, when we're dosing the tumours, when we can see it on a CT scan, we need to design a dose that will dose just the tumour and hopefully not much else around it, which is hard because it enters your body at some point. And if we're trying to, say, get your bladder or your prostate, which is kind of right in the middle of you, without hitting anything else or making too much of an impact on the organs around or the tissues around is pretty tricky. So.
And how do you prepare for that? Do you have big meetings with a bunch of other radiotherapists and oncologists,
No,
et cetera,
we've got so we meet with the doctor and the doctor outlines the tumour, and then we use physics programs to dose where we want to, how we want to deliver the radiation. So usually it's a multi-beam therapy. So we come in from a lot of different angles to make sure we just get, the majority of the dose goes to that tumour. So it depends on the shape of the beam that comes down, the strength of the beam that comes down. So different strength of beams will dose at different, have their highest impact at a different depth. So if I'm using a low strength beam, it will, its maximum impact would be at like 2 centimetres, but usually we're treating something deeper down. We need a higher strength beam it has its biggest bang right in the middle. So deep down.
That's so fascinating. The fact that there's actual, mathematics and that behind it.
We've got computers that do it all for us. We used to, back in the day before I started, we used to do a little bit of it, but when I started properly working, computer systems that did all that for us. So it was pretty cool. But then the machinery and the techniques got a lot more complicated. So there's a whole bunch of different techniques now to reduce the impact on the other organs and and different machines. And it's pretty bloody nuts what we can treat. Like we can treat a grain of rice in your brain and hopefully, it doesn't really impact the rest of your brain.
Yeah, right. Success rates becoming higher because of all of that?
Yeah, definitely. There's a new machine called the Cyberknife, which is pretty fucking cool. It doses.
Great name.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Cyberknife, awesome.
I think there's only a couple in Perth because I've been out of it for a little while, so I'm not too sure. But I think there's 2, one at Charlie's and a new clinic called 5D. So it does real-time dosing. So if someone's breathing, you can't really stop your body from moving completely. So when you're breathing or moving, it delivers the dosage in real time. So if you're moving, the beam of radiation is moving. So they can treat really tiny things in crazy places in a shorter amount of time. So, they can deliver a full course in 5 treatments, 5 to 10 treatments or less. Yeah, it's awesome.
Sorry, continue. Yeah.
No, I've never used one because I've been out for a while. I've never used one, but I know they're there, and it's amazing. One of our neighbours had it, and it was nuts. It's really good for people that older people that can't afford to be going in every day for 7 weeks, or just anyone anyway, because it's not really that convenient going in every day for 7 weeks.
Well, I was going to say some people call me the Cyberknife on the football field, except maybe not yesterday. Because I hurt my knee, but sorry, it's pause for cheap joke. But I was going to say, because and then I was going to ask you about this, and hearing this now, it's quite promising. But I was obviously thought the issue with chemotherapy is
chemo and radiation
different.
Okay. So maybe I asked that.
Chemo is like a drug that it goes into your whole body.
Yeah.
So
radiation's better.
Radiations, or they just do different things. Like, chemo it's something you put in your body, whether tablet or through IV, and it'll attack anything that's fast growing in your body. So, anything what grows fast in your body, your hair, your nails, tumors.
So that's quite, that kills a lot of important cells. That's I guess inaccurate is probably not the word to describe
It's
it.
killing
but
you to kill the cancer
that-
as well.
Yeah, it hurts you, but it's bloody effective. But
Yeah.
the side effects are shit. But it does what we want it to do. Just the side effects suck.
Yeah.
Radiotherapy is targeted.
So how do you decide the difference whether to do chemo or radiotherapy?
It depends on the oncologist. So they decide, depending on what kind of tumour it is, what kind of cancer it is, they'll decide. what you
Generally,
need.
the more severe, the more likely it is for chemo? Or?
Some things respond differently or better to different courses of action. So a lot of people get both.
Yeah.
Or some people just get chemo, or some people just get radiotherapy.
Is it likely that moving forward with, increased precision with something like radiotherapy, like you're talking about with the cyber knife, is it likely that that would become more prominent, or will it always just be a combination?
I'd say just a
of two?
combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it depends what type of cancer you've got. So if you've got a blood cancer, then you're going to need chemo. We can't just radiate all your blood.
Yeah. Interesting.
Do you see the future of treatment, it always being chemo and radiation therapy and it just getting more and more precise? Or do you think that new sort of cures or treatments will come into play eventually?
There are other types of treatments now that are more friendly and more effective, they've found. So I think as time goes on, it's going to, it should get better and easier to treat these things, but also we're putting more crap into our bodies, and because of our environmental factors, the incidence of cancers are rising. So, but we should, because of our health system, we should be able to find them a lot easier, but we're getting them a lot easier. So
it's about addressing the cause more than the symptoms.
I think that's what we should be looking at.
Well, speaking of causes, is there? I've seen different things about it online, but obviously the wide regarded opinion is sunscreen is good. Sunscreen's good.
Well, that's what we're told. But then I know there's also the other train of thought that they say that sunscreens are causing cancer. But I don't know. Call me old school, but
Sunscreen's good.
What?
It's about the chemicals on your skin from the sunscreen.
yeah.
But
So there's different trains of thought.
Because this is what's there's always a counter thing. Like nothing
There
can
is.
be purely good, right? In this world, and I think obviously when people have got more access to information, and people have got, not saying that they could be wrong, but people with radical ideas have got a platform to start spouting stuff like
Exactly.
this and changing people's minds on something that you think is so solidly, so much. Something like sunscreen, which, people would never have questioned the importance of sunscreen in the past.
No.
Now all of a sudden, maybe it's not so good for me. Maybe I should just go out and
Right.
fry.
Right.
But
But then with the the ozone layer is getting bigger, and we're burning. I don't know if we're burning faster than we used to, or
probably, especially in Western Australia.
I don't know. I guess maybe look for natural sunscreens. I don't know. I don't. I just go for one that works.
And I mean, some people, I'm so lucky with my Italian background that I have this beautiful
I
olive
hear,
skin.
yeah.
So I was going to ask, where did your parents immigrate from?
Yeah, they're from southern Italy.
Southern Italy. Well, there you go. So
so-
not everyone's, as lucky to have.
No, my husband's very fair. He gets a tan when his freckles join, but I like hot, warm weather holidays, and he
And
despises
with freckles. That's hilarious.
He hates the sun. He wears you could avoid the sunscreens. He wears a rashy, Bunnings hat. So
Classic
boardies.
rashy guy.
Oh, he's discovered something. We call it the contraceptive hat now. It's like a, it's like I don't know if you played T-ball when you were a kid with the hat with the flap and was it called a Legionnaire's hat with the flap at the back and the cap
my
at the front?
gosh.
So he wears one of those surfing.
Full dad mode.
Oh,
gonna
and then
put that
he's
word.
just this summer he's teamed it up with a rashy that has a hood. So he wears the rashy with a hood, the contraceptive hat, and
It's sorted.
we're not having any more
He
children.
doesn't- exactly. So that's all right.
No one's getting lucky when
That's
he
what
wears that.
I guess that's what dads just don't give a
Yeah.
fuck anymore.
No, but he's grown up surfing West Australia since he was a kid, and he's had numerous tumours cut out of his skin. So
Yeah,
he's
right.
hyper aware of the damage to his skin. Yeah, if you look at his ears, I don't know if you noticed, it looks like rats have chewed the tops of his ears off because he's had lots of lesions taken off. So he's very aware of the damages of the sun. But me being me, I'm not.
Has that kind of turned you into the super mum of being super precautious with everything cancer related for
I
your
was going
kids?
to say, I was
kind
gonna
of,
say, is it like beach day is rashies?
Oh,
like,
I used to when they were kids, but now
yeah.
I have 3 teenagers, and trying to get them to do anything that I
Okay.
want is near on impossible. 3 teenage boys, so fuck you, mum. They do whatever they like.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
there's
okay.
no, and they all surf, so sometimes they'll come back fine, and other days they'll come back with red noses.
And they'll cop a hiding when that happens?
Yeah, I was
or-
gonna
There's
say-
some rude words, yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
so-
like, do you use like examples of what
Of course,
you've
I
seen?
scare tactics for
Scare
sure.
tactics would be about
Definitely,
Because
yes.
mum, like scare tactics from my mum would be like, you know, oh, you might get cancer. But scare tactics from obviously
you
some of the
will
stuff that
get
you've
cancer.
seen
Yes.
is like, you know,
Oh,
you'll
definitely.
have your face cut off or like,
That's right. Yeah, like I tell them about the man that had the trachea pipe and we had to, suction his trachea pipe out every day, from smoking. I'm like, don't smoke, don't drink. They're teenage boys, I'm sure they're going to give it a whirl. I
yeah,
still can't help myself every now and then, but
awareness.
yeah, moderation. I think everything in moderation, we're pretty good.
So would you say that with the patients that you treat, it's more common to have patients that don't have as much of a active lifestyle out in the world, and you get more patients that are like more on their screens all the time, not out surfing, but
It's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then it's also age as well. Like we're living longer than we're meant to as well. So these things that go, we're not, our bodies can't heal like they used to. Our cells don't replicate like they used to when we get old. Like I probably should be dead now going back. Women didn't go through menopause. They just were dead. So, we're not supposed to be living this long. So your bodies are going to brain fart. They are going to shit themselves. And I think,
and for younger people, it is.
younger people, I think it is, what we're doing environmentally and what we're putting into our bodies and the stress we put on ourselves as well. I think it all comes into play.
I think that's really fascinating, addressing the root cause as opposed to the symptoms and trying to be proactive.
I think so. I think that's something we need to look at.
And do you think that there's enough of that going on today, the education behind it, or a lot of education needs to be raised about it?
I think there needs to be more. Like, I'm a teacher now, and I hear what we're teaching our kids, and I don't know. I don't think they really focus that much on what we should be doing in the high schools. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about it, but I don't think there is enough awareness.
You see things like the standard American diet, and like 80% of it is just pure processed food, which is
Because it's
cannot
quick
be good
and it's
for you.
easy. But then our lifestyles, they don't afford us any other options really. Like what time do you get home from work? And then we're told we need to exercise. We have to socialise. We have to make ourselves look perfect on social media. When have we got time to, time to exercise or cook a healthy meal or go shop at a grower's, at a farmer's market? Like it's not a priority for everyone. Just getting by is pretty much a priority. But then, look at our, there's vaping now, and that's pretty prolific.
I don't touch vapes.
No, neither do I. I did actually try it once just to see what the fuss was all about. I just want to know, like the kids, all the high school kids do. I'm like, let me try it, and
Let me do
I
what the cool kids.
and I did. Well, like just for education purposes, and I tried. I'm like, holy shit! It tastes nice. It smells nice.
It's
and
accessible.
And it's nicotine.
and it hits you a whole lot faster than the olden days ciggies did. So, like, it scared the shit out of me. I did. I went, oh my God, this is why they.
I think the scariest part is it's so accessible. Like you don't need to go buy a $50 packet. You can
Of
just whip
ciggies.
it out of your pocket, order it on Amazon or online.
And mum's not going to smell it on you either because it just smells
Yeah.
like your old school impulse deodorant. Like it doesn't smell
Well,
bad.
it was starting to become mainstream, I think, 4 or 5 years ago when we were in year 12.
Yeah, okay.
And then like people were starting to smoke it in the bathrooms at school.
Yeah.
And then a couple years out of school, you started to hear that boys were starting to get suspended or expelled for being caught with it in
They're
the
definitely
bathrooms. 'cause
cracking down on it.
Everyone started doing it. There's a study I heard on the radio, I think probably 2 weeks ago, and they were saying there's been an increase from 2% to 13% of all young adults
wow.
vaping.
Wow. But haven't they put, it's under 18s. It's illegal for under 18s.
I think they've made vaping illegal in general. Like
is
they've
it?
banned it.
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah, it is
state.
too. Yeah, it is too.
I think it's becoming harder and harder.
So
for
where are they
people
all
to-
getting it from? Because you still see it everywhere.
The local supermarkets, or not supermarkets, those local like market
Oh,
shops.
yeah.
You're so naive, Campbell.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
seen
no.
it. I've seen it.
What are they called? These local local
You'd
shops.
probably have a better idea of what
I
they're
don't
called
know.
than me,
I don't know
Gianni.
what they're called.
Is it those like the
PSG.
shops you see in there? I know, I'm old. I don't know all this
Yeah,
stuff.
no.
There's
don't
one
know.
in Freo next to the 7-Eleven as you come off the
Yeah.
train.
They're
Just
and
old
you always-
tobacco stores.
Yeah, the
where
tobacco
people would
stores.
go buy cigarettes.
Yeah,
All the
yeah.
old Cloud Nines.
Oh, yeah. Are they still around? I don't know. I'm old. I don't know this stuff.
Yeah, those
And I
vape pens are not good.
Yeah, and I've scared the shit out of my kids, so that I don't think I'll be seeing, or hopefully I haven't seen any around my house. But
Well, it's almost like with smoking in the 60s and 70s, people thought it was like doctors would
It
say
was
it was
cool.
good. It was good for you.
Yeah,
like,
so
it
this
wasn't
is
bad
our
for you.
this is our smoking.
well,
This is
one of
our
my friends at
generation
work,
smoking.
she's the generation above me. She said that when she was pregnant, her baby was getting too big, which would mean it would be harder to deliver. So her doctor told her to start smoking, so the baby would stop growing and it'd be an easy delivery.
Did you take that advice?
She did. So,
Wow.
and it worked. So
It worked.
yeah.
Really?
So, well, I don't know. She had a decent delivery. So, well, who knows? Who knows? But that was the advice. Like, and my husband his mum gave me an X-ray of him in utero because they thought he was too big and maybe his twins. So they just took an X-ray, which you don't X-ray
Oh my
babies
God,
in.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's different now.
Was there any other hidden cancer causes that people don't really know much about?
Now,
Yeah.
you know, I think that a lot of people disregard the effects of stress on your body and what that does to you.
Chronic stress.
And I don't think anyone can put their hand up and say that they're never stressed. I think it'd be lying out their
yeah.
asses. Yeah, I think everyone's stressed, and I think back in the day there was way less stress.
Well, I think a lot of it's social these days because you look at like an African village and they all have nothing and they're so happy and no
yeah.
stress in the world. And
Yeah.
you look at the average private school student today and they're like, I've
So
got my
anxious.
HR exams
Yeah.
Oh,
next
they're
week.
peaking.
And they're like having panic attacks. And it's
Completely.
just awful.
All the mental health issues nowadays, there was none of that back in my day.
And you think there's a correlation between that mental health and the stress from it and the increase in cancer?
I reckon it's a huge. I personally think that it's a massive deal. Like I have stomach ulcers, and I know that when I am stressed, I can taste blood in the back of my throat. Like it's when I'm stressed. Like I can do the same thing, but it's with poor diet or alcohol But I know if I'm stressed, that's the first thing that goes. I get that chronic pain and blood. So I don't know if it's maybe I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of people like me, but the toll anxiety and stress has on your body, I think, is definitely underestimated.
Is that just also, your body just becoming super, super run down and more susceptible to these sort of things? Is that what happens when you're stressed? Like what's the link? Is it just, constant?
Your body's in that
Mental
fight or
and-
flight
yeah.
mode all the time. It's
Yeah.
peaking. Yeah.
So it's just running down your body, I guess your energy stores or whatever, and then your lack of iron, whatever. I don't know. I know iron deficiencies are becoming probably more prevalent with younger people. I know lots of people who have gone and had to get that supplemented because, they're just very high achieving people.
Yeah.
Never stop moving, never stop thinking, never stop,
But also, like I noticed when I was working in radiotherapy, I don't know if there's any studies on it. Hopefully there are, but I don't know. But I'd see the patients that their mental capacity was, they were happy. They knew what was going on. They were willing and able to help themselves, and they were happier people. And then you'd see the ones that had given up. Their mindset was poor, and they were the ones that wouldn't do so well. You'd always see the ones that were, with a more positive mindset. They were the ones that did better.
Well, that's fascinating that can have such a strong effect on your body's ability to recover.
Oh, definitely. But there's been a study that's come out just recently as well. It's through Curtin Uni. They've done a big study on exercise and cancer recovery. So they said that those people that exercised had a 50% less rate of developing metastases. So, not other cancer, but there's cancer spreading to other parts of their body. So 50% it's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
So just through exercise, and they're not saying go run a marathon every day. They just want some,
Regular.
increase your heart rate a little.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you have much of a strong opinion on the relationship between people that exercise and not having cancer?
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah, they say that smoking, poor diet, obesity, the biggest causes of cancer. So, and you look at our you can look at our population
And the increase in obesity and mental health issues. And
it's just on the increase.
we've done some episodes on the relationship between exercising and mental health and how exercise is one of the most effective treatments for mental health issues.
Yeah.
And that would make a lot of sense then if you're exercising more so you're less stressed.
Yeah.
And then if that chronic stress isn't there, you're less likely to then develop
Yeah,
cancer.
Well, they
putting it
said, yeah,
simply.
it was only they only showed to. Well, I'm sure there are studies as well to show that it reduces your chance of developing cancer. But yeah, developing metastases, it was 50% chance of not developing metastases if you exercised.
And is there a lot of barriers to entry for new or progressive treatments for cancer?
Oh yeah. When they start, if they want to investigate something, it's years and years and years and years before they can implement it, and put it into play. It's
So do you almost think there would be something like a magical cure for cancer right now that's been tested and works, but it just hasn't gone through enough clinical studies? And
how many years of testing would it have to do before you could test on humans?
Generations worth. But I honestly don't think. I know lots of people say, the tinfoil hat wearers, they always say, there is a cure and Big Pharma doesn't want us to. I honestly don't think. I don't think so. There's so many different types, and like even just I've got breast cancer. Okay, but is it hormone receptive? Did you breastfeed? Did you there's a million different things. Did you get an injury? Did you what happened? There's so many different things at play. So many different causes. So. And then everyone's so different. Yeah,
interesting, because I guess some people, their whole lives might be in labs researching it, and some people might be being a radiotherapist, but going through and learning and then having that human connection and seeing people, and as you said, seeing people that are more stressed and negative mindsets and their success rate versus the people with positive mindsets, it's almost that real world connection and touch. That's that intangible thing you can't really study that you see.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Like positive mindset, is there any other of those little intangibles that you see?
I think we need to be more in touch with our bodies. I think, with all the other distractions we've got with work and lifestyle, and I think we lose touch and don't listen to our bodies.
People might not be able to make that link and jump across, but I think it's very, very real. And I don't know, talk about it today is kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of an eye opener.
Yeah. Well, there's a program on Netflix, I forget what it's called, where they've got those blue zones where the people live over.
Oh yeah, the 7 most pure places in the world.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I haven't, no, but I've heard about it.
It's pretty interesting. Like you look at, and they're eating just what is available. They're not eating processed rubbish. They're exercising. It's a simple life. It's a simple. There's no stress. They're not.
I know we talked about it a little bit off camera, but so you've studied radiotherapy, and now you want to get back into oncology, or So what's the future for you?
For me, I don't know. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know that I do want to be with people, and I do want to help with this journey that they're going on, because it is, it's a pretty terrifying, but it's also pretty, it's
rewarding.
It is rewarding. I don't want to say special, because it's not it is special, but not in the right way. Special time in people's lives, and if you can help them through that, I think that's a pretty amazing thing to do.
Making a difference for sure.
Well, I hope, that's what I'd like to do.
I'm sure you already have in a lot of people's lives. Just
being
someone that actually does have to,
I hope so.
I guess treat. Not everyone. I feel like not everyone can do that. So. I was going to ask, and we love to cater some of the stuff to our target audience.
Young males.
Because we're so good. Originally it started as young males. Now we're getting a much more diverse audience, but still it's within, lots of our friends.
Female listenership is on the rise.
Constantly on the rise. But like people are, say 18 to 25 age bracket.
Yeah.
Lots of the people who are still watching. When it comes to having checkups and when you should start, being wary of...
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, when you should start being wary of, I guess, cancer in your body. I don't know. I know, obviously, we've talked to Andrew Tan. He said, testicular cancer,
He's a
has a lot more...
Yeah,
a lot more younger people reporting to him than other forms of cancer. But when, like you say, you don't necessarily need to, but you have checkups every year just to be sure.
Just to be sure,
exactly. Yeah. When do you recommend young people should start seeing people specifically for cancer checkups? I don't know.
Anything. Well, I think on our own, like before we go to a doctor, there's things we can do every day. Like for you guys, a testy exam in your shower stall is pretty easy. It's something you can do every day if you really wanted to with a bit of soap. It's not that hard to do. So you can do that yourself rather than going to the doctor's surgery and be embarrassed. Lots of people don't have the time, or it's embarrassing. Can you please check me? No, you can just do those things you can do yourself. And same with women. In the shower, it's a really easy exam for your breasts as well. Bit of soap, arms up, arms down, have a good feel. It's not a big deal. And lots of young women do find cysts and little masses that are benign in their breasts, but it's best to check. I think we need to be more in tune with our bodies. Get the mirror and check for extra spots. Get your partner to check over your back or your nose or your neck or, under your arms. People get skin cancers on the bottoms of their feet. So
What if you don't have a partner?
Mum, dad, mates. We're all pretty progressive there. Friends can check. Maybe not that, but they can check your back for skin cancer. I've got this spot. Can you check? I'm talking about your skin cancers, not your nuts. But
well, it is interesting because that's something that I keep bringing up with people when I talk to them. Obviously, I've started to talk about this stuff a lot more. And I think that's part of that change and that awareness is reducing the stigma. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we just talk about it more.
But even just at parties and stuff, talking about
Don't be embarrassed.
Interesting. Yeah,
we've all got bodies. They're all pretty much the same. Why does it matter? I don't know. I think in my era it was not something you would speak about, and I know my parents' era definitely not. But
yeah,
I think that the more the generations go on, you guys aren't so. You're more open to talking about things.
Yeah.
But then again, with social media, I don't think everyone's that in tune with talking about things that are embarrassing or might make you look not as good as your mates. That's the impression I get.
Yeah, it is a weird thing because it's almost like the younger generations are more progressive, but
then would you tell your friend that I'm not feeling right today? I'm a bit sad, or
yeah.
But then could you ask your mate to check your back for a funny spot? Would that be okay?
I'd ask you. I think we have that level of trust.
That's nice, but there should be no stigma attached. There should be no stigma attached.
Yeah.
We've all got bodies. I think we need to be more in tune with our bodies and be less afraid to check it out.
Well, another one similar to skin cancer that's on the rise for younger people is a lot of IBD, but also bowel cancer. I remember seeing something about bowel cancer becoming the most common cancer for young men.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's more common than testicular cancer.
Well, one of the most common.
It's on the rise. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So what are some of the things? I know diet's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
Diet. Yeah.
Just eating whole foods, or
eating whole foods, fiber, whole foods. Yep. And then be aware of the symptoms.
I read a bunch of studies on supermarkets and the levels of processed food in the supermarkets and the amount of foods that had certain amounts of ingredients in them.
Yep.
And it was something like 20% of supermarkets were one ingredient foods.
Yeah.
And 80% were more than one ingredient. I think 70% of that 80% were like 11 plus ingredient foods.
That's crazy.
Which is just cannot be good.
No, it's not good.
It cannot be
and
good.
all the additives, just eat whole foods. I don't know, it's just as easy to peel a banana as it is to open a wrapper for a muesli bar, isn't it? I don't know. We're looking for the sugar hit.
So that's something you're nailing into your kids.
Oh, yeah. My kids thought that frozen blueberries and raspberries were lollies until they hit their first birthday party at like 4 or 5. I was a real asshole. They had no idea.
But I'm pretty sure that thank you for
Gaslighting.
it eventually one day.
Yeah. They discovered it and that was it. But But also speaking about the bowel cancers, I know you guys like to do your protein hits and go crazy, these protein shakes, and there's a massive incidence in gastrointestinal stromal tumours, which is your body's overloaded with protein and it can't process it, and all these tumours are developing. In guys your age.
I just remember the one time I've had it, I felt really sick and I think I vomited. I think the protein shake just never really agreed with me.
No, but lots of guys are doing. How many guys do you know that smash the gym all the time and they're
I like to stick to the eggs after the gym, eggs and steak.
Yeah, good. That's better. Cause
I thought you were a big protein shake guy. No. My brother started doing it and I'm like, ugh.
I used to have like I think it was an Arbonne one. Where it's
it's
a
supposed
little
to be all
more,
natural and
it's it's still processed.
It is still
like,
processed, and
It's a refined powder.
This creatine stuff, like
Yeah.
what's the?
I actually can't take.
it's an obscene
creatine.
amount. Oh yeah,
But what are the positive? Like, is it supposed to be? It's not
help
just
you
optics, right? It's not just how you
bulking.
look. It's
Well, everyone's so image conscious. There's
You can get your creatine from a grass-fed steak. You don't.
you don't need to blow yourself up with all this processed crap.
clearly I don't need any creatine.
Me too.
Don't
yeah.
need the gym either.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need the gym.
So that's
been a
another
while.
factor. That's with the intestinal
So
tumours.
how do people like find out or check up on that?
That's
It's a lot
just-
easier
that's
to
just
check up
knowing
on
this-
skin cancers.
Yeah, just knowing the symptoms. So
And the symptoms are
so changing your habits. Like if you usually a one poo a day kind of guy, and then it changes to 3, or all the other way around. You poo 3 times a day and it changes to 1, or not at all. The biggest indicator would be the colour of your poo. So whether it's black so that means that there's blood in your poo. Well, it could be black, or it could be fresh blood in there too. So that's probably the biggest indicator. But you would feel sluggish, you'd feel anemic, you'd feel flat. So, but I think a lot of people are, they don't have the time, or they don't make the time to go to the doc. I don't feel right. Go to the doc. Why not? It's not a
Better
sign
safe
of
than
weakness.
sorry.
I don't know why people don't think there's time, or they think they'll look stupid, or we just have to.
We had on a GP a few months ago, Dr. Lloyd Evans, and he's starting his own men's health clinic, Man
Brilliant.
Health. And one of his biggest things, and he talked about it when he was on our podcast, is having that conversation with your local doctor and learning how all the systems work, and
Yep.
learning how to get in touch, and when there is
just
a problem,
starting a
who to go
relationship,
and
yeah.
talk to, just starting that relationship
Yeah.
with a medical professional.
Yep.
So it can be more preventative instead of waiting for it to happen and then
It's too late.
yeah, exactly. So-
But then I don't know. Would you guys know what the symptoms are to look for? Or would you know? Say, I don't know, when you're a little bit older, that if there's something wrong with your prostate, do you know what the symptoms are? Would you know what to look for? I don't know, maybe there's not enough awareness.
And is online incredibly accurate? Because I know there's the joke where it's like, my back's sore today. What's
And you
the-"
Google
and
it, and Google says
like,
you're gonna
you have
die.
cancer.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
You're like, oh shit.
Although-
so now people are like, oh, I don't want to Google it. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just going to tell me the worst thing. I don't want this to be the worst.
That's true.
thing.
Yeah,
It might be an issue.
Maybe, but I think there needs to be more awareness. I don't know, maybe going back to schools, letting them know, what to look for.
Absolutely.
But I think, maybe there needs to be more awareness with you young guys
Just being
and girls.
open to the conversation and knowing how the systems work, I think, is really important.
Yeah, it shouldn't be taboo, and it should be a big deal. And people need to make the time to look after themselves and make the time to go see a doctor if they need to. No matter how small they think it is, better be safe than sorry.
I guess it's out of interest. What's your maiden name?
Oh, my maiden name.
For
I know
Italian
you're from
heritage.
South Italy.
Arfuso was dad's, and
okay.
Granieri was my mum's.
Okay, fine.
There's
No,
I
that's
think
it,
there's some
yeah.
pretty nasty mafia attachments to my dad's side.
Wasn't going to say
No,
anything. My family's Northern Italian.
Oh, Christ.
Wasn't going to
Oh,
say
no.
anything.
What was-
yeah,
oh, no.
what have we done? We filled the
no.
whole-
What was
Interviews
your
over.
Italian
Yeah.
It shows that you can have North and South Italians
They hate each
speaking
other.
for like an hour.
What's your
Yeah, we're okay.
What's
Yeah,
your
that's
North Italian heritage name?
Monty.
Monty. Well, he's about to go to Southern Italy. He's going on Wednesday.
Shut up.
I don't want to get shot or something.
No, stop.
Kidding.
Stop. But I know if I go there, I can only speak the Italian dialect. So when I went there last time, I was with my husband. I just made him speak his form of Italian, because I said, if we're up north and I'll speak, they know where I'm from and they'll spin my food. No, you won't.
It is. Oh,
It's not that bad.
Oh,
It's not that
pretty-
bad.
I just remember the when we were last there, we saw Inter and Napoli play.
Oh, yeah.
At San Siro, and it was like, I guess it's not like that kind of concentrates it with a bunch of
Yes,
people,
definitely.
super passionate
Oh,
people in one place, and it's like you're getting
Naples is scary.
you're getting that the Neapolitan fans have to go in by themselves. Like they have to close off these gates, usher them in, and then at the end of the game, all the regular fans, all the Inter fans leave, and then the Napoli fans have to wait until
it's crazy.
It is.
It is a little bit
amazing.
crazy.
But I mean, that's just history, and like we don't have so much of that here. When 250-year-old
Convicts.
Yeah.
old. Yeah, and I mean, I guess there is. Everyone here is from somewhere.
Yeah, or north and south.
Everyone
We
here is
live in north and
an
south.
immigrant, right?
We're
like
I'm pointing at camera boy Rob, my brother. We're full Australians, so
Yeah.
all of our grandparents are all Australians.
Yep.
Like not immigrants or anything. So we're like and it's very rare you find, especially in Perth, there's a lot of Italian families or.
But I mean, they're still from somewhere.
Yeah, I think
But
there's
they're
like
not. It's
Danish
very
or
unlikely
Spanish.
that they're- Yeah.
On my
yeah, Dutch.
Nan's side, there's Aboriginal, but it's just, I feel like every person, one of their grandparents is from England or from Italy
Yeah.
or even from Asia
Oh, yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Like,
We're a migrant country, basically.
Yeah, we are.
there's no like, I guess a pub is the Australian cuisine because you go to, there's all the different country cuisines here, but you go to other countries, there's no Australian cuisine.
No,
country.
No.
because what is Australian cuisine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it'd be a steak sandwich. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a nice little
Segue.
to finish on a happier note.
something,
To finish on a
something
happier
completely
note.
different.
But
But
Yeah.
thanks very much. That was really fascinating. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. Thanks, me too.
yes,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for
Andy.
coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.